So I got interested in the harp many, many years ago. I want to say it was 97 or 98. I believe it was 98. And I was on vacation I was traveling through Canada in southern Ontario. And my last weekend there, I wound up at a Celtic festival in London, Ontario. And there was a harpist there. Her name was Jennifer White. I still remember that. And she was telling stories to the children and using her harp as accompaniment and for dramatic effect. And it was really, really, really neat. And there was also a harp maker. He had the most beautiful harps. He had small harps like this. This is a 26 string, considered a lap harp, although it's really awkward to hold on your lap. I actually have it on a little folding stool. And but along the pillar here, he had these carved leaves and vines just wrapping around. I mean, they were three-dimensional. They were external from the wood pieces. It was gorgeous. So I actually got to try his harps out. And unfortunately, I didn't have an extra, $1,000 to buy one of his less fancy models to take home with me after 2 weeks of vacation. But he had told me that he taught lessons in his studio and actually rented his harps locally. And I was like, oh, I wonder if there's something like that at home. And it turns out there was. Within a week of going home, I had found a harp maker that lived only about 3 miles from my home at the time, and a teacher that literally was right around the corner. I went down my street, turned the corner, and 3 houses down, that's where she taught. So I was extremely lucky, and I took a few hours in the beginning just to learn basic hand position and posture and whatnot, and then I basically went to teach myself. And back then, it was much harder because we did not have the internet and everything that's available on the internet now. Um, and I took a long break in the middle. I'm actually just starting back. I started playing again in November. Um, after I finished my other harp, which I'll show you in a bit. So I just wanted to go over the main pieces of the harp. This is the neck, and this is the pillar. They are what kind of create the stability of the harp. The strings go down here through the soundboard, and I'm hoping, I know I mentioned in my notes that harps develop bellies. So can you see this is a little raised. It's not doesn't have a super big belly, especially for being 20 years old, because I built this in 2003. So, or almost 20 years old. The tension of the strings pulls the neck and the soundboard together. So the soundboard is fairly thin wood. I want to say this is probably not more than an eighth or a quarter inch aircraft plywood is what Music Makers uses, and that's what this one is. It's a Music Makers kit that unfortunately they don't support anymore. So they're pulling together. So most harps, especially larger ones, over time, the neck and pillar assembly will twist a little bit this way and a little bit down as the string tension pulls that and the soundboard together. Eventually, they'll develop cracks and will break. It's just the nature of harps. The amount of tension that's on them is pretty incredible. If you have a string break, it can actually be dangerous. When I was taking those lessons, there was a young girl who was taking lessons right before me, and she had a larger harp. It was still a lever harp, similar to this, only it had sharpening levers. This one does not currently have sharpening levers on it. And she had a string snap while she was practicing at home, and it did actually cut her hand, and she had to get some stitches. So, but those are longer strings. Like this one, I mean, it could hit my hand if it broke while I was playing and cut me. These are wire, so um, but that is kind of the basic construction of a harp. This one has tuning pins similar to what are found on smaller instruments like zithers and dulcimers. Larger harps have a pin that actually goes all the way through this wood piece in the neck and is tuned on this side. The little zither pins tune from this side, and they're only generally used on smaller harps. And I have a feeling it's because of the way that this neck and pillar assembly torques over time. Although I'm not positive about that, but I believe that that's part of the reason that larger harps use those tuning pins that go all the way through. There are many different types of harps. Most of the ones you'll find in the SCA are going to be lever harps like this one. They could be small harps like this, or they could be floor harps. I've actually seen people bring their larger harps out to SCA events. And but a lot of times you'll find these because they're more portable. I can carry this by the pillar assembly, and that's what I often do. I do have a case that I made for it. It's just a soft-sided case that zips up and has carry things, but it makes it even more awkward to carry, and it's heavy. The harps are not lightweight. So this is a wire strung harp, and I don't have fingernails. Mine aren't strong enough to play with, but traditionally wire harps were played with the fingernail. But you can play them like you do a traditional harp, which is with the pad of the finger, kind of the edge. Oops, the edge. So when you sit at the harp, you want to have, good upright posture. Your legs are going to be a little spread so that your harp fits between them. And the harp goes against the right shoulder. This is just, it's not the right position. Your hands don't reach properly. I mean, a left-handed harpist, I suppose, could play with the opposite hands. But traditionally, harps are played on the right shoulder. The left hand plays the bass notes, the bottom chords, and the right hand plays the melody line in the upper register. So on this harp, it's going to sound like this, and I'm going to play the first part of Even Star. So that's the first couple lines of Even Star from Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you can still hear it. This harp is still actually vibrating and making sound. Wire strung has a really long sustain on the notes. So if that's a problem, say if you're trying to play something faster, if I wanted to then play another chord, it kind of clashes. So what you can do is damp the strings to play your next one if you have time. And you can do that note by note. That just, to me, has some dissonance in it. So damping strings is a thing. Jazz harpists do a lot of that. And they'll often play chords in this, and they'll play them in kind of what to me seems like an awkward position, but it gives you more range on your harp. And they'll go. And so their whole hand can be used to damp the strings, which is kind of neat. I've watched Deborah Henson Conant do that. She has a free music webinar one Thursday a month. I want to say it's the third or fourth Thursday. And it's all improv. And she doesn't necessarily have a plan when she comes into the Zoom meeting. She just comes in and says, oh, let's play this today. And then she just starts off, and she's very good at improv, and that's a lot of what she teaches. And she does offer some free webinars and free 5-day, usually I think it's once a quarter she does a 5-day free thing on the harp, which is nice. And she has a lot of stuff that you can replay on her website. So this is a wire harp, and I want to also show you my double strung harp, which I also built from a kit. And it is nylon strung. It has much lighter tension. But the sound box on this one, which you can use as a drum, I have seen, there's some amazing harpists that do that. This is cardboard. It's painted cardboard that has been folded into a box. This one has 2 rows of strings, as you can probably see in the picture. Here's one row, and the other row is over here. They are tuned exactly the same. This harp is tuned in the key of C. This one also doesn't have levers yet. And I'm going to, the cool thing about the double strung is you can get echoing effects. But the other advantage to a double strung harp, it does take a little longer for your eyes to adjust to seeing both rows of strings. It takes a week or two, but your eyes do adjust fairly quickly. The reason that I wanted a cardboard version was because I didn't know if my eyes would adjust and I didn't know if I would like it. Doing the kit and the cardboard kit takes about $2,000 off of the price of, experimenting with a harp. They're also a good starter harp, as you can see. They have decent sounds. You wouldn't think just right off the bat that a harp with a cardboard sound box has decent sound. And this harp comes in both single strung and the double strung. The double strung you do have to specifically ask him for. This is a fireside harp from Backyard Music, and they have a couple other cardboard kits. They have like a little banjo type thing, or like a little guitar type project that has, again, the cardboard box and the wooden fretboard. But they make the kits more affordable. Like the single strung version of the fireside harp starts at $169 plus shipping. And it doesn't include any levers. Levers are expensive. So levers shorten the string and they raise the note by a semitone. So this is C, and if I had a lever on it and put it up, it would be C sharp, which I don't actually have on it. So, but it makes harps more versatile for playing in different keys of music, or if you have accidentals in a piece of music. The other cool thing about a double strung is that your hands it's basically like 2 harps. You have an independent, full range of notes. Your hands aren't going to hit in the middle and then you have a damped note, because that can happen on a single strung. If your lines overlap, you can only play it in one hand. On this one, the benefit is if I'm playing, let's say, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I can play both the melody and the chords in the same note range, which means that when I play some other songs, I'm trying to think which ones I like that overlap a bit. I tend to play the theme from Chariots of Fire, or not Chariots of Fire, Last of the Mohicans, and that overlaps a little bit here and there, not a ton, but my chord hand and my note hand are very close together. And that one goes something like this. So that can overlap. That one would sound, and I wouldn't have enough notes to do the whole thing if I played it an octave higher. Oops. And I'm not used to playing it in a different range, so I'm a little confused there. So you can play some music that way, but you can also, the benefit and kind of the joy of the double strung is that you can play in the same range, and it gives you some very neat effects. There's a YouTube harpist that plays a lot of double strung. Her YouTube channel is Smiling Harps, I believe, and she has little mini videos on teaching different specific to double strung harp techniques, and I really need to go in and do some of them. But I know she has one on the doubling effect, and I just have been very busy and haven't had time to go into her thing. The other difference between my wire harp and my nylon harp is that when I'm outside and I'm playing in the breeze, a soft breeze will play a nylon harp on its own and it will make all the strings vibrate. A very gentle breeze can sound kind of interesting. A strong breeze, and you need to cover that up. It's like a wailing banshee. It's just not pretty. That doesn't happen with a wire strung harp. The other thing with nylon strung harps is that if you get a kit, it's going to sound terrible initially because nylon strings stretch a lot. So initially you're going to be tuning it 4 or 5 times a day until it starts to settle in and stay in tune, which is probably 3 or 4 weeks, and you'll be able to, you'll be able to play some songs before then, but between songs you may have to retune it. And for a double string like this is 44 strings. It takes a while to tune. The wire harp stays in tune much faster. I think within literally the same day I strung it, it would hold a tone long enough for me to play songs. I may have to tune it once every hour or half hour initially, but within a week it had settled. I refinished that one while I was building this one, and it was, like I said, playable almost immediately. The harp kits, most of my harps come from music makers. I've built 3 of their harp kits before. This is the only one I currently have that's built. I just bought another one that's a floor harp, a larger one that's 34 strings. So this one's 20, they call it double strings, 22 strings. It's got 22 strings times 2, so 22 by 2. So this has a total of 44 strings, but the range of notes is G below middle C to, I'm not sure what the number is up here, but 3 octaves up, the G above that. So also on this kit, so this is the very first of the double strung harps that Dave at Backyard Music ever built or ever designed as a kit. And I called him and asked him to make me a double strung because I wanted the harmonic curve and I wanted the ability to add sharping levers, and his harp had that. There is another version of a cardboard harp kit from Dennis Waring. It is angular, it's a straight line for the pillar. It doesn't have the bridge pins that the string goes over. The reason that the bridge pins are kind of important is that as you tune the tuning pins, it winds the string around and it can shift the parallel plane, so some strings may not be in alignment with the others. But the bridge pin has a little groove, and the string goes into that groove, and that keeps everything in alignment on your harp as you're tuning it. So on Waring's harp, he has a wooden bridge pin that goes the whole length, and there's no room down here. There's no extra wood to add levers to it. So and it's only 19 strings, where this is 22. 22 is kind of the standard for lap harps, although they do come in smaller sizes. But 22 strings is a decent range to get you started. There's a fair bit of music, especially for Celtic and Renaissance, that's written specifically for 22 string harps. Smaller harps you either have to rewrite or you need to do chord inversions. Even with a 22, if you want to play other music, you'll probably have to do chord inversions, which is, so this is a C chord, a C triad chord, C, E, and G. And so you might have to play it instead of C, E, G, you might only be able to play C, G, and do the G below the C, because this hand is occupied in that register on a single strum. I've had to do that on that Even Star song that I play on my 26 strings. That song probably needs 34 strings to play it as written, but I rewrote it so that I could play it on this harp. And so in the second line, which goes like this, I rewrote the bottom hand. The way it is supposed to go is that chord that I'm doing. That chord is supposed to be like this, but I do not have enough notes because I've got a melody line that I'm playing. Oops, hold on. Oh, I did that wrong. It's, yeah. So that is supposed to be played like this. But I'm using these notes during that part of the music, so I can't do it. So instead I used B and I went down to F instead of up, came back to the same D and did B, D, F. And I had to do that in several sections. I had to do it in where it was supposed to be an A, or I keep doing that. It's A, E. But I was using that range in my melody line. So I went A down to E and then back to that same A. So you can do chord inversions like that to adapt music to a smaller harp. It does take a fair bit of work. It took me a long time to rewrite it so that I was happy with it, and then to learn to play it. Because your hand gets used to the pattern. You're like, oh, it's this chord, all going up, and it sounds very nice. And then all of a sudden you have to do, oh, the pattern changes, and you have to do. Which still sounds fine, but it's not in the same melodic line as the rest of the music. So I use MuseScore. It's a free app that you can download that I can rewrite music in. The other nice thing about MuseScore is that you can, once you input your music into it, it will play it for you, and you can change the tempo. So you can learn your song slower and work up gradually to the speed that you want to get. Which is kind of nice to have something to play along with. I'm not very good at the metronome. It's an extra thing to try to coordinate with my two hands, which again, I'm a beginner, so I'm still working on coordinating my hands. The other thing that I wanted to show you today is the various different learning platforms. So the one that I'm currently using is Christy Lynn Dose, which I think I pronounced that right. She just got married. It used to be Christy Lynn Moraes, and she just got married like a few months ago. And she launched an online learning platform. She had it on Patreon originally, and set up their own website for it called learningtheharp.com. And she has video courses. I'm on her subscription service, but you can also buy her courses individually. And oh, let me go over before I share my screen and set it to the right one, because I have several sites that I've used for learning. Oh, let me just go, well, yeah, I'll go to the shop. So back to Zoom. All right, where's my share screen button? Here we go. So this is her shop where she has her video courses and her sheet music. Sheet music is usually just $5 and the courses are $40. And when you go into one, like she just released Beauty and the Beast this month. And tell me if this isn't coming through on the screen. Is it coming through okay?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. Yeah. So the things that I look at when I go to one of her courses is, so here it is. She gives a little clip of the music on how it looks. This is for early intermediate. This is a little beyond my current level. I'm really at late beginner for her music right now. It's for big and small harps, which means she has two versions. But over here it has different skill levels, like it's telling or different information about the song. So this is early intermediate, and it's one of her more earlier intermediate pieces. She has hers in this song comparison. She has all of her sheet music in order of kind of difficulty, which is really nice to kind of look at. The kind of harp that you need. So her big and small harps that are 26 strings or bigger. So I could play it on my small 22 string because I have 2 rows of strings. It's a double strum. and I can play it on my 26 wire string. I would not be able to play it on a single string without probably doing some modifications to probably the chord hand. Then the next thing is levers and pedals. Well, I don't have levers. So it tells me that this is in the key of C major and no levers are required. So if I was to play this right away, I could play it on my little double strung harp because that is currently tuned to the key of C. I wouldn't have to retune it. What's included? I don't remember if I look at that. Okay, so the video course has multiple lessons to learn the song, which means it's great because you can rewind and you can play along. And then she also has an audio clip of it, of both versions usually. Well, nope, this one only has one version. Tell me if you can hear on the computer sound. I don't know if my computer will. Oh,
No, I can hear it.
my sound is really low. So I like these audio files because they are downloadable. And so you can actually, if you're not real familiar with the song but want to learn to play it and you're not good with that metronome and the tempo, you can actually just play it on repeat till it kind of gets in your brain on how it's supposed to sound. She also includes these videos of her playing the piece. And then I want to go over to my courses because it is in, I do have hers. Actually, I'm not going to go into hers yet, that one yet, because I haven't started it. I'm not quite at that level. Let me go into Fields of Gold, which is the one I'm currently trying. Because I don't want it to say in progress when I'm not quite in progress yet. So if I go to the continue button, this is what hers looks like. She breaks the music down into different sections. And so these are the sections that I've already done. She has an introduction to the piece. In this, I think she's still going over body position a little bit. On this one, I like that she does this rhythm thing. And she actually has you tapping on your shoulders just because it's a syncopated rhythm. And of course, I was following her video and I was doing the wrong hands because it was opposite of what she was saying. So I had to redo this section. But this, and you can hear that, right?
Not really.
Okay. So she's playing this section, and at the beginning of each section, she will do that. The other thing that she does, and the video clips tend to be fairly short. I'm trying to see where she goes over, and she does the tapping thing. So she'll clap to the beat, or actually she's just clapping to the notes at that point. But when she goes over how the rhythm is supposed to sound, I think it's on this part. Oh no, maybe this was the clapping section. It might have been section 2 where she's doing the tapping. But they're short. Like this video section is only 5 or 6 minutes long, and they generally tend to be fairly short. But she breaks it down into sections, so you can kind of chunk the different sections, and you can also slow the speed down if you want to play it slower. There's an option to play it, I think, at half speed or 3/4 speed. So this is my current learning platform. The other one that I want to start using, and I have to go over to, okay, we have 10 more minutes. And then, let's see, Harp School. Harp School has some free courses, not a ton, and they're a monthly subscription, but you can't, unfortunately, I wish you could, buy per song like on Christy Lynn's site. But it, share screen, here we go. Here we go. There are different teachers on this one. So if you want to give it a try, they have like a 10-day thing that's only, I want to say, like $10. And then you can pay monthly, I want to say it's like $40. Or if you go by multiple months, that, breaks the cost down a little bit. But they have a ton of songs. They have film music, like here's an even star version. It's not the one that I've been playing, but it is one that I've bought, and I would kind of like to take their course because I know I don't play it quite right with tempo. May It Be, I'd like to learn. For free, let's go to the free ones. I really want to learn Evelina Simon's Elf in the Woods is super cute. And Last Rose of Summer is, I believe, a period song. They have Brian Boru's March and Greensleeves in here that are free. The Outlander Skyboat song is free. So they have a fair number of free courses, and I haven't tried these yet, but I do want to. I have so many songs on Christy Lynn's platform to learn, but I do want to learn some of these as well. The one I was telling you about, is there a way to search this? No. Learning paths. I wanted to show you Amy Turk. She does a lot of percussion. Shoot. Not sure if hers is intermediate or advanced. Nope, that's not where I want to go. Video courses, look about all courses or learning paths. I don't remember how I found it before. But Amy Turk is one. She plays the Africa song by Toto, and it is phenomenal. I should just look it up on YouTube. Let's see. Did this switch over to YouTube for me?
Looks like it.
It did. Okay. So let's go here. Where is... And of course I can't find it right away. All right, let's do this. Africa. Oh, here we go. So, and I know you won't be able to hear this very well, but you can see it once the ad ends. Oh, come on. Of course it's going to do this for me. Okay. She is using her harp, the different parts of her harp as a drum, and the different ways she's hitting it actually produce different sounds. And she's got a couple that she's done that I'm just like, it sounds so much like the music when you listen to it with those drum beats that she's doing on it. It's just amazing. And she has a couple courses on that harp school, one of which teaches the beginning, like a beginning class on how to use your harp as a drum. The other site I kind of wanted to show you is, if I can get to the tab, this one is another learning platform where she has 6 and 12-week courses that are like, here's a harp level 1, 2, 3. I want to say she's in Wales. So, and then another one that I've done, video courses are much more popular. Anne Crosby Gaudet is starting to do that. She just recently published, I believe, a free tutorial on YouTube, and now she's starting to do some of her other things. I don't know if it's going to be all new stuff, but her stuff tends to be, she does some more beginner type pieces. And the other thing that's kind of fun that I did was this past Christmas. Heather Downey is a harpist from Scotland. And the past 2 years, because of the pandemic, she has done a Christmas harp collaborative where she has written a musical suite for the holidays, broken it up into not only different pieces, but beginner section, intermediate, and more advanced, and different people will submit their videos according to her audio tracks, and she does teaching videos with that, and then she compiles it all. And so I think we had, I don't know, 80 or 100 harpists this past year playing the Christmas Harp Collaborative. And I only did the beginning section and the melody line for that one. And submitted it, in two different videos that she then compiled into wherever it fit, which was really, really neat that she includes everyone. And if you can't get a piece solidly down in a section, you send her what you've got and you just ignore that section and just leave it off. Somebody else will do it. And but then there's so many harps playing all at once. It's really exciting when she compiles it. And she's done that, like I said, the past 2 years, and I believe she'll do it again this year. But it's fun to get started on it. Most of my harp circle did it. So do you have any questions?
I don't have questions, but I wanted to thank you. This has been very helpful.
Excellent. I'm glad. I definitely recommend, I really kind of like doing the kits if you're at all handy. They're pretty easy to put together. If you're interested in the fireside, like I said, it's like maybe $200 with shipping. He has videos on YouTube that go through all of the construction process. There's like 9 videos.
Yeah, I actually have a beautiful harp. It's my skills that are lacking, not my instrument.
There are many, many learning platforms online now. Tiffany Schaefer has a bunch of stuff on her YouTube channel that's free. I think most of it's Melody Line. She also, like Christy Lynn, has a Patreon where she has a subscription for different levels. She has like harp circles once a month that are, I believe, play-alongs. I haven't joined hers yet because I have Christy Lynn's. But I probably will at some point join those other platforms and be learning some from those as well as I improve. Deborah Henson Conant, like I said, has that free Thursday thing that I highly recommend. And hers wind up on her website later as a webinar to rewatch. You do have to join the website, but you go to the free section, you can watch previous webinars. It's definitely worthwhile, especially if you're into improv, because that's a lot of what she does. It's a lot of fun. Her website is called hipharp.com. She's that jazz harpist that's just, she's hilarious and so much fun. And I did her vision workshop in January. That was a lot of fun. It was a 5-day thing. It was a lot of work. It was a lot. I mean, you put into it what you get out of it, but it really made me think more about my harp playing. It was definitely worthwhile. So I'm glad you two came. I'm gonna try to post the video up to my YouTube. That'll take me a little while to do, and then I'll post it into the page so that other people can watch as needed. So, and if you have any recommendations for me, this is the first time I've done an intro to the harp class, please let me know in that Facebook event page, because, of course, I'm always looking to improve and learn how to better teach.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I don't have a harp. I just think they're so pretty to listen to, and I just wanted to learn a little bit more about them. So.
Awesome. Well, hopefully, I don't know if you're coming to the Bardic for Mountain Guard tonight.
I might.
I'm going to try to hit that. I still have a lot of silk painting to do. So yeah. Thank you for coming, and please share your harp journey. I do have my practice videos uploaded to my YouTube channel, which I put a link to to my flub reel, which can take you to my channel if you want to watch my practice versions, which probably are kind of boring. But I do it so that I can look back as I progress and see, oh, look how far I've come. I can go back now and be like, oh, look how bad I was at even starting the beginning. So it's great. And it also lets people know that you don't start out perfect.